I was literally just so shocked. There was an ambulance outside of the branch, and my manager was texting me that someone just got stabbed. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elena, and as some of you already know, I make lots of videos about my banking career, interview tips, questions and answers, and just about my experience working in the bank. So let's get right on to the story. So while I was working in the branch, my title was a head teller, or you could call it a CT, a central teller. So basically what that meant was I was not just a teller, but also someone who managed all the cash at the end of the day. So basically I had to count all the cash at the end of the day, open the locks, go into the safety box, and just make sure that nobody enters the branch after 5 o'clock. So this role was very risky, but I never thought that it would get this bad. So guys, it was just another summertime working as a teller, and my branch was quite busy at times, so I was dealing with a lot of customers back to back. That day I had a shift which was from 12 to 8. So because the branch was open until 8 o'clock sometimes, we would alternate Wednesdays and Thursdays, and I would work like a 12 to 8, and then my coworker would work like a 9 to 5, and we would switch around. So on that day, my assistant manager who sat behind us, he came to us, the four tellers that was in the front, and he started talking to us about the recent robberies. So apparently the area where I was working, some of the branches had got robbed. There was one branch that was about 10 minutes from us. There was another one that was also robbed that was about 30 minutes away from us. And this had been going on for the past couple of days. And I think there was even a robbery like the day before that happened to one of the other further branches. So my manager just came to, give us a little heads up and make sure that we are aware that these types of things would happen. But our area, mind you, was a little more safe. We were more like a hidden branch, and we felt like the area was more safe than the areas that were getting robbed. So we didn't think anything of it. We thought we would be safe. But still, my manager gave us a heads up. He told us to lock up some of the cabinets, large amounts of cash, to make sure that everything is locked and to make sure that it's not always around the customers and that we follow our due diligence basically. So later that day, so my shift was 12 to 8, so it was around half of the day, it was around 4 o'clock when I saw a cop car pull up by our branch, and he was basically just sitting outside of our branch, and I was wondering why he's there. And my manager came up and he's like, oh, I see there's a cop. He's like, oh, I see there's a cop car. Let me go ask and see what's going on and why he's here. So he went outside and talked to the cop. He came back and he said that the cop told him that we are under a watch because of all the other branches that have been robbed. And so the cops would be monitoring the area to make sure that there's no robberies, because he was afraid that maybe there would be more robberies. It was weird, but there were so many robberies in that week in different areas. So it felt like it's something that was happening a lot. And so that's why the cop came and made sure that we're all okay, I guess. Yes, so it was around 4 o'clock when my coworker came up to me. She's like, do you mind if we switch shifts today? I wanted to leave early tomorrow because I have to go to a birthday party, but today I could stay late instead. And as soon as he said that, I was like, yes, of course, because that day I actually wanted to go out as well. And I was like, leaving at 5 o'clock would be perfect. So we talked to our assistant manager. He said, that's fine. Sure, you guys can do that. So I was going to leave in an hour. The branch was starting to get less busy, so I was kind of wrapping up. It was close to 5 o'clock, and I decided to go home. And mind you, there was about 4 people in the branch. So it was my coworker, who was a guy, another coworker who's also a guy. There was an older lady who was a teller, maybe in her 60s, and then there was my assistant manager. And actually, yeah, there was 5 people in total. There was also the branch manager, but the branch manager would sit like in the offices. So in the teller side, there was only a guy, the older lady, my assistant branch manager, and then in the office was my branch manager and another guy who was the financial advisor. Normally we have more tellers up the front, but because it was a later shift, there was less people. So anyways, I left after 5 o'clock. I lived about 15-20 minutes from the branch. So as I was driving home, we actually have a group chat that we had for the whole branch, and everyone was in that group chat. My phone was beeping a lot, but I was on a call, so I didn't really bother checking. I remember being on a call with my mom, and my phone was beeping. So as soon as I parked my car, I see that I have 25 notifications from the WhatsApp group chat and from that work group chat, which I found crazy because we barely text there, only sometimes. And I was like, what are they talking about? And why is it like, why are there so many messages? So I go and check the group chat, and all I see is messages that says, hey, are you doing okay now? And then there's another message saying that, did he get into the ambulance? And I was like, what? What are they talking about? And I scroll up and I read through the group chat, and I see people saying like, oh, I hope you guys are okay. Is everything fine now? Oh my gosh, I left. There's still some people in the branch. I hope let's name him Andy. I hope Andy is okay. And then I see another text that says, hi, this is Andy's brother. Andy is in the ambulance and we're on our way to the hospital now. Stuff like that. So I was so confused, and I texted, and there's some other people in the group chat as well that were not working that day, or they had already left home. So some people texted as well. They're like, what's going on, right? So as soon as I also got home, I see that my aunt was watching the news, and on the news, it was crazy, but my branch was on the news. And I was like, huh? I look at the TV and I'm like, that's the branch I just came from. That's where I work. And my aunt's like, no way. There has been a robbery in that branch. And guys, my heart dropped. You might think that this kind of thing will not really affect you because you weren't there, but trust me, I feel like it was the same as being there, because I feel like when you're not there, you kind of spiral into these negative thoughts and you assume the worst. So you get more like kind of scared for them, and you feel like hurt, and you don't know how to help, right? So I see on the news that this branch just got robbed, and then I see that it says 2 people stabbed. And as soon as I see 2 people stabbed, guys, I freak out. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? Then I read the group chat. Andy's brothers stated that Andy is okay. We took him to the hospital. He's currently recovering. So I was like, thank God that he's okay. But I was still wondering what happened. I messaged my one other coworker who was in the branch, and then also another coworker who wasn't working that day. The one that wasn't working that day was obviously responding fast because she was also confused and didn't know what happened. So we were like, oh, what happened? And we see the robbery on the news. I wonder if they're okay. And then I finally get a response from the elderly woman, and she tells me that there was a robbery. You're so lucky you left. And I'm like trying to figure out the whole story, guys. But it was so hard at that moment to find out exactly what happened because everyone was freaking out. I had bits and pieces of the story from the elderly woman, she and the branch manager, but I didn't know the full story, which I will know later. I'll tell you guys in a second. But basically what happened was the branch manager shortly after sent a message on the group chat, and he's like, guys, the branch will be closed until further notice. So this made me freak out more because not only this crazy event just happened, but I also can't go to work and see them or really see what's going on. So the branch closed for 2 days. So I remember it was, I think, Wednesday. So Thursday and Friday, the branch was completely closed. And I was freaking out the entire time. I even went to get a massage because that's how like scared and concerned I was. And I was thinking like, because these coworkers, I worked with them for like 3 years. So we were all really close, especially like this one guy. He was like my closest friend working beside me the whole time. So I was really concerned. I was like, is he okay? Because the whole chat seemed like the one that was injured the most was this guy. Let's call him Andy. So I was really concerned. So the 2 days went by, the weekend went by. On Sunday, I get a message on the group chat. The branch manager says, whoever wants to come into the branch, they can, but you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable, but we will keep the branch open on Monday if anyone wants to come. So obviously, I really just wanted to go to work because I felt like the more people I see, the more sides of the story I get, and I just felt like I couldn't stay home and I had to go there. So as soon as Monday came, I went to the branch right away. I saw some of my coworkers who weren't working that day who was there, and the branch manager was there too. So the branch manager, he actually did a little huddle among us and he shared the story. So guys, basically what happened was so scary, and it was probably exactly as I expected of how bad it could have been. Basically, when I left around 7:30, 7:45. They were closing up the branch and wanted to close the doors. And somebody came into the branch with masks, pushed her away. The camera was showing the footage that she was pushed away. She fell to the ground. The people came inside and basically said, open the locks. And they went behind the teller and they said, open the locks, like, we want cash, tell us the password. And basically my coworkers were obviously freaking out. I also heard that the guy that was in the office and the branch manager, he was slowly like coming out, but they were kind of further away. And basically what happened was the guy from the office came out. I don't know why he came out. I think he was trying to see what's going on. He came out, and as soon as he came out, they targeted him and they told him, go up to the lock, open it, the big lock, open that, and I know you know the password, and give us the cash. And as soon as he started walking towards the lock, I guess he was walking slow or he was hesitating, they actually stabbed him in his back. And he was like bleeding from his back, which I'm sorry if you guys are disturbed. I'm trying not to go into too much detail, but he was injured. And other than him, the branch manager, I think he like fell or something. So it wasn't like minor injury or any like stabbing, but that one guy, he did get stabbed. And also the elderly lady, she was obviously a little bit injured because she was pushed. So as soon as he stabbed the guy, they actually got scared, and I think they also heard the sounds of the police who was coming. So they ran away. As soon as they did that, they ran away and the police showed up. And that guy, he was on the ground, and they quickly called an ambulance, and basically his brother came super fast and they were on their way to the hospital. That's basically what happened that night. And I was so worried about Andy, and I was wondering like if he's okay, but he wasn't responsive, obviously. But my branch manager said that he's now okay and that he's out of the hospital. He was there for some time. I think he got stitches or something, and that he's gonna be on a leave. So fast forward to the future, I don't think I ever saw that guy for so many months, and he finally came back to work. But anyways, so on this day when I went to the branch, during the huddle, the manager also mentioned that we all need to speak to a therapist, that there's like a work therapy thing that you can call, that we're mandatory required to call and speak to them for basically just for mental health and because of what we went through. So I did call that guy because, guys, I was not feeling good and I was feeling so hurt and I wasn't able to even get over it. I think it took me like a year to even forget that incident because I was freaked out. I was like, I could have been there. I switched my shift. Why did I do that? I felt guilty. I felt bad. So I did call that therapist. I spoke to him, told him how I felt. And then also they did a lot of stuff in the bank, like to take care of us after what happened. Like the RVP came personally to the branch to hug us all and like prepare this whole like meditation thing. And there was like a lot of events that involved like asking us questions, seeing how we feel, taking care of us. Basically, that's what happened. And I never expected, like, I've heard of branch robberies, I've heard of some crazy stuff, but I never thought in a million years this would happen to me at a branch that I worked in. So especially when there's knife involved or violence involved, I never knew this would ever happen because my manager did warn us that this could happen in a branch, but we just never took it seriously. We never thought that it would be us. Anyways, guys, that's all. That's the story of the branch robbery, which I was sort of involved in. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. If you guys want to hear more stories like this about my banking experience and some crazy situations, please comment down below, or if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them as well. And don't forget to subscribe.